Hey guys, it's Sugar, and I'm here with my husband Jeff.
Hello.
And sorry for the delay. This month has just been crazy, and I've been meaning to put out stuff, but as I told you before, I had dental work, and it seems like it never ends. I still had more dental work. I have some more tomorrow, and just a non-stop bull.
It's also just a parade of watching anime. Oh god.
Yeah, it's
It never
basically
ends.
either going to appointments or watching anime, and that's kind of where it's been. I've been making scripts, but it just half the time either I have stitches or have freezing or whatever, and then Jeff's been working and busy, so he couldn't even record a lot of it. So it's just been a bit of blah. It's that time of year. We're blah. So, without further ado, let's get started. We're going to talk about what's continued and what's airing right now. Basically, giving you a yes, no, or kind of thing.
Mid-season report card.
Kind of, yeah.
We are teachers after all.
Yeah, we are teachers. So,
report card time.
So basically, yeah, we're just going to tell you kind of what's worthwhile. We might give some reasoning. I shouldn't say we might. We will give reasoning as to why. Just to kind of give you a better idea of where to be directed, because some things I think have gone under the radar. Some things are kind of, given more attention than they deserve. Other ones are just kind of mainstream. So
It's been a really unique season so far.
Very unique.
In comparison to
It's been a lot. Like, I thought I'd have a break. Not like a break because it's every season, but usually this time of year it's a little less of a load, where it's been like a lot. And stuff I've chosen purposefully not to watch, like of course I say it now and I should have grabbed the name. I can look it up really quick. Long story short, the horse racing anime. That's girls that are horses that I purposefully
horse
chose.
racing idol.
Yeah. So if you're worried I wasn't made aware of it, I am very aware of it. I just chose not to watch it.
And I guess one of the things that we will mention, I think both Sugar and I understand that the new Sword Art is done by a different studio. It's done by a different team. It's written by different people. It's Sword Art just because it takes place in the Gun Gale universe, so maybe we'll watch it, but...
No, we won't.
No. You know what? I will, on my off time, give it a shot, because I've heard that it's actually, very different from what Sword Art is. And there's no Kirito, so it's one of those things that I feel like we should maybe at least give it a shot. But I also feel like, why even take the Sword Art name then? Just call it Gun Gale. People will know the reference, and if they don't know the reference, they'll at least want to give it a shot then.
Yeah. To each their own. And yes, the horse one I was referring to was Uma Musume Pretty Derby. So, if you were wondering deeply what that one was...
It's got to be over an 8 on MAL already.
It's not, thankfully.
Oh, okay,
it's
good.
a 7.2. Thank Lord.
It's just one of those things that you're
I
like,
hear it's
what?
decent, but it's just like, why? Why? It's like, why?
Why you do this?
Anywho, let's get started, because it might be a while. So, I mean a while as in we have a lot to talk about. Okay, continuing, Black Clover. It's gotten better. I would say it's not a no. It's not a yes. It's an okay.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning is really hard to watch if you can power through that. And I'm not saying, because I always complain about this, you shouldn't have to power through to get to something good. And I'm totally a believer of that. So if you don't want to power through it and watch it, it's fine. It's not that great to start with. It's gotten better, which I appreciate, and it's kind of weeded out the things that made it super annoying, like some of the characters that were really annoying, like Baja Boy. And don't get me wrong, he makes an appearance, but he's not as prevalent. And we know the Asta's voice has been toned down a fair bit. The guy who's doing his voice has gotten kind of a better range of how to do it properly without being insanely annoying. And so yeah, it's better content now. If you feel like watching it, I'd say go for it, but definitely not a yes or no for me.
Question for you. This is also for me is it isn't a must watch, especially this season where you've got so much better shonen out.
Yeah, so for me it's a meh.
But you have been going through the earlier parts of Dragon Ball Super now.
Yeah.
What's harder to watch? The first part of Dragon Ball Super or the first part of Black Clover?
Black Clover.
Really? Dragon Ball Super looks like garbage.
For me, the thing with Super, how can I explain it? I was trying to explain it to you the other day when we were talking. Super to me is nostalgic. And it's hard for me to not like Dragon Ball because I've always liked Dragon Ball, like,
the characters
always.
And everything like that.
And so seeing it again, it's like nostalgic and you're like, sweet, I'm glad it's kind of still going on. Even though I'm still really disappointed because, well, like Jeff said, we watched the end of it together and then I started actually watching the entire thing. And it makes me frustrated that, you know, they've kind of slouched on some of the characters. Like Vegeta, I feel like, is like a shadow of his former self, so to speak. And I feel like they've kind of... I wish there was better storytelling and better kind of storylines here rather than kind of like a gimme. Like the first like half of the season is just like recap and like things that were already done in movies and just putting all of that into anime, which I feel is a cheat, but that's just me. And then it's just stuff that's really predictable or reused. Like I kind of get frustrated where every time it's kind of a lull, they have a party or do whatever. There's no realist, like, there's no building on anything. It's just like, hey, these things you like, remember you like them? It's like, yeah, I've remembered it for years because it's been here for years. Like, whereas Black Clover, it's harder to watch in the beginning because it's like somebody who's learning to play the violin. When you hear them initially, it's horrible to listen to somebody learning to play the violin. But once they actually get the rhythm of it, it's nice. And I feel that's my best comparison for Black Clover. It's like learning to play a violin. In the beginning, it sounds really terrible and squealy and just awful to get through. And then once you get to the part where they're starting to get better, it's like, oh, that's manageable. Like,
okay. I just felt like that was maybe the best correlation because Dragon Ball Super starts off really rough. The animation isn't as good as the movies, and they're spending a lot more time on stuff that really doesn't need to be extrapolated on because it's all just recapping the movies and whatnot.
A lot of it's just recapping the movies and stuff, so it was kind of a irk for me. But so I just wish there would have been more this season. Not this season, sorry. Like this season of Dragon Ball. Like I wanted more, especially since like the A team was all together again, so to speak, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, sweet, we're going to get some awesome stuff. And it's like, oh, we're just going to kind of give you what you want, but not in a good way, in a tournament arc. Like, everything's a tournament arc. But, yeah. Anywho, not besides the point. So, for me, Black Clover's a meh.
Alright, I thought you said it's like a... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's meh. For me, it's no, meh, or yeah. That's how I'm going for my scale. I'm going meh.
I'll add an in there because is better than meh. Yeah. Where Black Clover for me is like an
Do you like our grading system? It's very refined.
Yes, of course. If we want to do like a teacher's thing,
we can do teaching thing. It's A, B, or C. It's a B.
Well, I mean, we could also go D or F. So for me, it'd be like a C.
Fine, an A, C, or an F. It's a C.
It's a C. It's
a C.
This season, I would say you don't need to watch it because there's just better shonen. Last season, there wasn't a whole lot going on, but now we've got some really good stuff ongoing, so it's like, you don't need to.
The next ongoing is Boruto.
Same
it's another
deal.
one. It's
almost exactly the same.
It's a C. One of those things where it's like in school where you have somebody who's really gifted and you get their kid and you're a little disappointed they're not as gifted. That sounds terrible. But it's kind of that expectation where it's like, it'll be just as good, where it's not. Like...
It's not.
So yeah, it's a C for me, and the reason being is the fact that if you watch Naruto, which I encourage a lot of people to do, because it's good. People bitch about the filler, but overall it's good. It's the fact that it has a lot more things going on for it. It has, like, tons of fighting, tons of emotional moments. Like, some of the sadder moments, really good choreography, really good, like, scenes, where Boruto, it's just things happening. And, you know, it's kind of like as if it's like the never-ending Groundhog Day, where it's just, like, training and random crap happening. It's like, it just happens all the time. There have been a couple cool moments, like, I don't want to give anything away, because if I say anything, it will. But, like, there have been a couple cool times where I'm like, wow, that's cool. That was a neat idea to bring back, but, like, it was very short-lived.
The fact that the coolest stuff always involves the parents. In the original cast.
There was one that didn't involve the parents that was pretty cool, but other than that...
And I know I've stalled on it a little bit because I'm already watching 3 shonen, so again, Boruto I've kind of stalled on. but I think they just started up on the Chunin exam arc, which apparently is more of a highlight point for Boruto, so maybe it will get better. But yeah, it's just there's too much good shonen out there to watch Boruto.
Yeah. So, next on the list, Cardcaptors. I give an F.
Right now, you have to give it a C.
No. I give it an F.
Ooh.
F this show. That's the greatest scoring system. F this show.
Yeah, I do kind of have to drag you along kicking and screaming.
Now it's become to the point where it's like the reverse of, it's like watching Boruto. Or it's like, Boruto. Black Clover, where I literally had to go limp. It's like Jeff dragging me. I was so excited for Cardcaptors, and I'm sure a lot of people were because it's super nostalgic and it was a lot of fun. And like, basically, Cardcaptors now should have just been called Sakura Baking, the TV series. Like, all they ever do is fucking bake. And that's like, there's nothing really great that happens. There have been a couple episodes with a bit of action. Like, there's been one bloody episode where she whipped out her rollerblades. I was like, that's like basically her life in the first season. It's like, Hiro is like just a moot character in this season. It's just pissing me off.
The most character he has is in the end credits where he has,
where he does like
Hiro
his,
says or whatever.
Kind of like the original where it's like, look at Sakura's costume.
I will say that we're not alone in the fact that like some message boards I go to, all of them were like, boy, they focus a lot more on the slice of life as opposed to her being a magical girl.
Yeah.
How about you focus on magic?
Yeah.
And it's like it's a kick to the gut sometimes when something actually really cool, they start talking about it, then it's like, no.
And it's like 6 episodes where it's like, is it time now? Yeah. It's like, not yet. And I'm like, shut up!
It feels, honestly, to me, that they had like 12 episodes of content.
And then they're like, here's 24.
They were
they're
told,
like, how can we add this?
You're doing 24. And they're like, uh-oh. Because, it's a lot of Sakura baking, and it's a lot of like, oh, let's meet this new friend, and this new friend we think is maybe magical.
You know for sure that this person is. It's like it's so frustrating.
The last 2 episodes, I've been like, cool. They're starting to tease it out, but this should have happened 12 episodes ago.
And it's so funny because like literally we'll call things like 3 episodes ahead of time, and then it's like another character will like say, for example, Madison will say to Sakura, she's like, "Have you noticed that blank?" It's like, unless you're an idiot. Yes, I noticed many episodes ago. You should have too. And you were there.
Here's the thing. I haven't rewatched Cardcaptors in a long time.
The original was good. I watched it a billion times.
The original felt to me a lot more like they focused on the magical girl qualities and everything.
And it being like action and cool.
I get the fact that because they are, slight spoilers, reusing a lot of the same ideas. Let's go capture cards.
It's super recycled.
They have to add in something else, but the something else is incredibly boring.
It's so boring. Like,
and the cool stuff, which like for like half an episode, they talked about the magic that Lee uses and like what that means, and the fact that he has magic that's different from Sakura's, and that there's a new character they added in who kind of seems to use the same. And that her brother has an idea of what's going on now. All of that is hinted at like twice. And then it's just dropped for 4 episodes for them to focus on baking. And like, let's watch stuff that happened in the original series.
And Sakura isn't even like really a character. She's now become like a stereotype of a normal anime girl. It's like, I'm cute and I bake. And it's just like, where's your personality? Nothing about you is here. It's so bad. So bad. If you want to watch Cardcaptors, watch the original again. This is not it.
Like, at the end of this
watch
season...
Watch the movies.
At the end of this season, we will tell you whether or not it ended in a way that makes it at all viable.
I can see the future. No, it'll be crap.
Hey, there's promise of maybe a dragon. I'm a sucker for dragons. So
a dragon couldn't save it. Shenron couldn't save Cardcaptors.
Here's the thing.
And it has a good score, but I think it's just nostalgia biting people in the butt.
If if they deliver on the stuff that they've been talking about, if we get more on the backstory of this world and the different kinds of magic that exist, if all that sort of stuff kind of falls into place,
it's bull.
The last 8 episodes will be worth it.
We have 4 episodes left, and the one character I'm somewhat intrigued about hasn't even been talked about in the slight. It's been a slight one sentence out of bloody 18 episodes. It's crap. It's crap.
I'm a little bit more of the positive one.
Jeff wants to lean to a C. I'm going hard F. There's no makeup test for this.
It's a D+.
It's an F.
D+.
F. So, next one. Hunter x Hunter. I know it's not in the season. It's not kind of still airing. But it's the dub that's continuing on. So, long story short, Hunter x Hunter, Chimera Ant arc right now, which is really good. The arc itself, I'd definitely say watch. We've kind of had discussions before about Hunter x Hunter, whether it's the cat's pajamas like everyone says or not. I feel like it's too inconsistent to beat anything like Full Metal Alchemist or My Hero Academia or anything like that. I feel like it has really great moments, and the Chimera Ant arc is its moment to shine, I feel, in the entire series. So I would definitely say...
Valleys.
Yeah, it's definitely peaks and valleys. I'd definitely say watch it, because Hunter x Hunter is one of those classics that you have to watch.
2011.
Yeah, the 2011 one, yeah. The original is a little less, but still worth the watch. So we don't want to give anything away about that, especially since it's been out and about for so long. Long story short, watch it.
B+.
Yep. Well, this arc, yeah, definitely. Next one, 7 Deadly Sins. It's been really good. I definitely say watch it.
Yeah.
It's been continuing on. The first episode or 2, it was kind of a rough start and I was unimpressed. And then after that, it kept climbing, which is really good. It's got a lot of great moments. It's already had a moment that made me cry. So that's a good sign for me. If something can get me so invested where I cry, that's a good sign.
A good level of escalation. I feel like it's jumped up in everything that's going on. The powers are stronger. It increases the scope of battle and what it all means. And
yeah, you can definitely sniff a tournament arc coming up, which is good. Nothing wrong with tournament arcs.
I was going to say, they do tournament arcs well.
Yeah, they do.
They did it in the first season as well. So after their really bad, season 1.5 and a shaky start, it's definitely a watch at this point. Yeah. Especially if you liked the first season of 7 Deadly Sins,
you'll love this one.
Yeah, the second season is strong.
Don't classify it by its specials. That's another.
Let's retcon that out of existence.
So yeah, the second season's been really good. Not finished yet, still going, so it'll be really good.
Mm-hmm. I'm intrigued to see when Netflix throws it up, and
they'll be grabbing it.
I was gonna say there's no dub yet, as far as I've been able to tell. Nope. So I don't know if that's just going to be something where in 6 months' time Netflix is going to be like, oh yeah, we dubbed it all. Here it is.
I'm assuming, I haven't seen who has it, but I'm assuming since they had the first season, they'll grab the second. There's certain ones I'll bring it up later that we'll be talking about. So then let's talk about our new stuff. I've kind of, as far as I can tell this time, I've gone alphabetical, but we'll see. So the first one I have on the list is Dorei-ku The Animation.
Boy, that was a pretty fast drop for me.
Jeff dropped it right away. I continued on. The thing about it, I thought it was an interesting concept. Excuse me. It was an interesting concept, but...
It's shock. It's all shock.
Yeah, it's a bit edgy, which I hate using that word because it always is a bad sign. Usually. It's basically the concept where people put in these mouth guards and then they duel people, and then based on that duel, if someone loses, they become that person's slave. And within a few episodes here, I'd say skip it. Excuse me, Lord. I'd say skip it because it plays kind of loose with its rules, and it's just getting weirder, and it's introducing more characters. The best I could do is a C. It has I had an interesting twist already, but other than that, it's basically straightforward on what it is, and I don't really know where it's going. I don't really know.
Shock anime for shock value.
Excuse me.
That's what I could tell. I watched one episode and I was like, you can keep watching.
And it's not for everybody. It's definitely rated R. It has gore and
the only thing I could say that I'll kind of give it credit for is the kind of people who would be willing to do this are the kind of
like
people
I said, it's
who
an interesting concept,
up.
yeah, but you find out right away the people who are good at the game are the ones that are the scariest. So it's yeah, I'd say skip it. If you want, you can give it a go. There's some redeeming qualities about it, but it's pretty skippable. Yeah, and Jeff dropped it right away, so that's a sign that it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I wasn't like grossed out or anything. I can deal with shock and gore and all that sort of stuff, but there wasn't any substance to it. Like Made in Abyss has got some really shocking and some gore to it, but it's to serve a higher purpose. This is more like, let's shock you and like let's make you gasp when
excuse me,
when that's our only redeeming quality is the shock.
Yeah.
Decent animation, I guess. Like it looks okay.
Yeah, it's not terrible. So the next one is Gegege no Kitaro. I started watching it and then I stopped. Not because it's bad. Like, I'll say right away, it's a C. Definitely middle of the road. It's very nostalgic for me, and it's... How can I say? Every decade it's redone. So that's the reason I stopped it. It was basically because I know kind of what's likely going to happen. I've been through it. I understand the characters. I understand what their main objectives are. And I know it'll be long. Like, it'll be more than this season. Like, yeah. I'm pretty guaranteed based on the other seasons. So that's the only reason I stopped it. It's a very simplistic story about yokai and the fact that there are some yokai that want to hurt people, other ones that don't. And then the ones that don't try to protect the humans and so forth, which is like our main character, Kitaro. It's a very simplistic anime, again, meant for kids. Sometimes a little bit darker content, but that's usually how it is with Japanese content. It doesn't shy away from a lot of that stuff. Yeah, but it's definitely meant for kids, so it's definitely, like, fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, for me, I've watched it a lot, the older versions, and it's every decade it's just kind of recycled and gone through again. So that's the only reason I stopped it. And Jeff really had no interest. So
yeah,
and that's fine.
To like the way you described it to me, I was like, okay, so it's like Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo does the exact same thing, where it's the same concept. They redo it every decade or so. They do it, and
it's
like,
the Japanese
here's your
version
mystery
of Scooby-Doo. Yeah,
here's your mystery of the week, and
it's more like a monster of the week. But
yeah.
So give it a watch if you want.
If it's your style very much, anime,
nothing's
watch it.
bad about it. It's not like perfection. It's not groundbreaking. It's been around for a long time. So I just give it a C, middle of the road. Decent animation, decent. Wow, I cannot talk at all today. Sorry. As you can tell with my chompers. It's decent. So nothing good. Like wow, I can't say nothing excellent, nothing bad. Horrendous. It's just middle of the road. Next one. It is the Legend of the Galactic Heroes, the new Thesis Encounter. So it's been great. A+.
Oh my god, this is out of all the new
I was
stuff
terrified.
Airing, this is probably my number. Like,
it's one of those ones where I've always meant to watch it, and then this came along, so I was like, "Yay! I don't have to." Well, I'm sure at some point I'll watch the original, but I don't have to watch it for a while yet. And I was also really scared because it was done by Production IG, who is the same people who did Attack on Titan. And I was like, oh my god, there's gonna be CG and it's gonna be like terrible. I was like, shit. But no, it's been really good. The CG's been like kind of used wisely. It's been kind of really well kind of melded into the normal animation that it has. So it's not like really gross. It's just used well.
Yeah, they use the CG for
usually it's for the outer space, so because there's so many like different items and objects moving at the same time. It makes sense to have a lot of that animated because drawing everything would just be, well, as you saw in the original, a lot.
Yeah, and this is for like original anime this season. I don't know what you call it original. I mean, it's
original content. Usually when you say original content, it's something that doesn't have like a source material and it's not being like rebooted or anything. It's just, that's usually what an original means. This, I would say it's very much
out of what's starting new this season.
What's new this season.
Because My Hero Academia is season 3.
This is definitely top 5.
This is probably my number 1, honestly.
It's been really good. The story's been really good. Kind of the idea that no one's really a bad person. They always have like their own like objective and initiatives, and you kind of want to root for these people because they have a driving force, which is legitimate. They're not just evil for evil's sake. And you kind of want to root for these people because they have a driving force, which is legitimate. They're not just evil for evil's sake. And you kind of want to root for these people because they have a driving force, which is legitimate. They're not just evil for evil's sake. And and it's really enjoyable to watch.
Yeah,
A+.
The whole time that we've been watching it so far, I'll kind of pause and I'll look to Shakir and I'll be like, are they supposed to be like our hero, or are they?
He's like, is this the villain? I was like, I don't think anyone's.
Yeah, no,
like,
it doesn't seem like
there's like one person that's obviously
villain.
that they've said like is a dictator who's like that's kind of our villain, but everyone else who's like good or bad side, each side has a valid point, so it's really interesting.
Yeah, like our main protagonist throughout. I mean, for those who don't know, the series will switch between two different characters who are just brilliant strategists for two sides of a war. Mm-hmm. And every time they switched, I've been like,
they have valid points.
I kind of want them to win.
And yeah, then you'll switch. You're like, I want them to win. Yeah.
And so you want both of these protagonists who are directly opposed to one another. Yeah. You kind of want them both to win because you're like, I respect their ideals. I respect what they are trying to do. And I really respect the anime in taking it slow. Like, they've had, I think they're up to like episode 6. And so far,
they've had one battle.
It's been one battle between them, and then the rest of the time has been like
world building.
Yeah, let's explain to you why they're in the positions they're in, why they believe what they believe, and one of the sides is considered Democratic or Republican, the other one is run by. Here's my political studies knowledge coming along. One is written by one is run essentially by like a demagogue, and. But like both of these political systems are shown to have their flaws as well as their things that we typically think of as good, and both of our main protagonists have been like, this system sucks because of this. And so they've both like taken shots at the very thing that they're really fighting to defend because they're like, I could fix this.
And it's funny because the show caught us both, because definitely Jeff right away because it's politics and that's up his alley like immensely. But then right away when they introduced our character of Yang, where he's like his whole like philosophy is based on understanding history, and I was like, we're like this. You and I have always been like this.
It is excellent. It's definitely I consider it a must watch right now.
It's a must watch, definitely. If you haven't watched the original, like definitely get on board now because this is the time.
And even if you have watched the original, I've heard that they're taking things a little bit slower and they're
it's not shot for shot.
More.
Yeah, it's not like that, but they've taken a lot of influence from what was already done and kind of molded it into something new. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So, next one, Golden Kamuy. So it's gotten a lot of flack for the CG, and I understand. I hate the CG in it, but
Giguk, I love
Giguk, CG fighting CG. So if you haven't seen Giguk's new video,
it's bad CG attacking bad CG.
I find him funny. So he's totally dead on with the bad CG. But I can say personally, I really like it because I like adventures, I like war stories, it's like everything I like kind of amalgamated into like this madness. Like some things are a bit far-fetched and kind of over the top, but overall I like the story, I like the action, I like people that are just kind of like different motives and people who are twisted for not like twisted sake, but like one of them, for example, had like a head injury, which really makes him like sadistic and is really interesting to me. I'd say it's a must-watch because it's not... I can't think of something that's like it. Like, I really can't. If you can get past the CG, like, it's just with the bears and the wolf.
Just like a couple of wildlife shots are
it's
kind
not
of blah, but otherwise it's...
Yeah. The rest of it's pretty...
beautiful in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I like the opener, of course, Man with a Mission. I love them so much. They do the opener for it. It makes me, like, super stoked to watch it. I'd definitely say...
The performances are excellent. Like, I feel like we're watching the sub, and it feels like everybody is cast correctly.
Yeah, the voice is so dead on for Sugimoto.
And I like their... And I don't know how...
Excuse me.
I don't know how accurate it all is, but they took a lot of care into putting in, like, essentially First Nations Japanese sort of, like, belief systems and whatnot.
I can't speak on that, so...
Yeah, I don't know how... For all I could know, all of that is, like, made up.
Even if it's made up, it's interesting.
But it's made up in a really, really intriguing way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's high quality. There isn't much that's out there like it. And all the performances have been excellent. The music has been spot on.
Yeah.
It's been...
Excuse me, Lord.
It's been very good. It has been a standout this season.
Yeah. So it's been I'd say it's a B plus for me. If you get past the CG, the rest of it's really good.
Yeah, I'd probably even go as high as maybe an A minus.
So, yeah. Next one I would say that definitely went under the radar for a lot of people, and it's just so random, is Hisone and Maso-tan. And it's about a girl who gets swallowed by a dragon in order for her to fly like a fighter pilot sort of thing. And it's really went under the radar. I think, like, a lot of people... How can I explain it? There's been on Reddit, let's put it that way, I've seen a lot of people talk about it, but when I talk about it, like, in just a normal conversation, no one really knows what I'm talking about or heard of it or whatever. I find it... I'd give it a... I don't even know. Hard. I don't even know what to rank it because it's so weird. Like, I'll say it's a C. Like, it's definitely something intriguing. Like, it's such a weird concept. Let me explain why I'm saying it's weird. Well, obviously, the idea of being swallowed to ride a dragon in order to fly it like a fighter pilot it's weird in itself. But then, like, the animation is almost like comic strip-like in the sense of, like, things you'd see in your Sunday, like, morning newspaper. The ending is so random and, like, trippy, like, 70s sort of thing that you'd see.
70s acid trip.
Yeah, 70s acid trip where it's just, like, crazy. It's this weird dancing and music, and it's so 70s. And then it's just the opener is so disjointed from what the content is, and then they have really weird characters. It's just weird.
They like embrace the fact that they're like, we understand this is crazy.
Yeah.
100%. And I think this is
also... We know it's crazy.
I think it's 100% original. Like, I don't think it's based off of anything else. So I think they're just kind of given license to be like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's weird. This is weird. And I love... the main protagonist is, in some ways, she reflects, that's Hisone.
Yeah.
In some ways, she reflects kind of typical anime stereotypes, but then in other ways, she doesn't. Like, she's a reluctant hero. She wasn't necessarily wanting to have this position at all.
Yeah. The English title is called Dragon Pilot, Hisone and Maso-tan. And the weird thing is it came from Bones. Of all studios, I would have never guessed it came from Bones. Like, it's so different from their normal animation. It's such a different team. Like, it's just different. And
they steer right into it. And this is one of those things where I could hear somebody say, this is my anime of the season. And I'd be like, I get it. And then I could hear somebody be like, I could never watch this for more than 5 minutes. And I'd be like, yeah, I get that too.
Yeah.
It's going to be very divisive.
Yeah, it was all conceptualized by Bones.
I just like the fact that it's so different from anything else I've really seen before. Mm-hmm. Animation style is different. I love that the protagonist is this weird mix of, like, reluctant hero, yet at the same point is kind of this off-putting... Like, she has this thing where, like, she just has to kind of tell the truth, regardless of how awful it is.
It's very endearing because she just says exactly what's on her mind, no matter how awful it is or how good it is. It's funny because, like, if she's in a way kind of like Midoriya, where he, like, when he thinks everything out, he says everything. Or, like, her, it's like not just when she's trying to think of things, it's like all the time. If, like, she feels a way, she'll be like, this is stupid. And then you know this is stupid.
Yeah, and then, like, she's surrounded by all of these people who, like, see her in a really positive light because, like, the dragon has to pick you, and this is, like, some monumental, amazing feat. And the whole time, she's just like, I don't want to get swallowed by a dragon.
Hang on a sec, sorry. Sorry about that. As you can tell, Miss Kobayashi is my ringtone, and that was an important call, so I had to take it. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. They understand.
So we were talking about Hisone and Maso-tan. We basically said what we needed to say, I believe. Just basically explaining that Hisone, our main character, is very much like Midoriya in the sense that she says everything that she's thinking and says it out loud and to people that it's inappropriate to say it to. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting watch. I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's interesting.
Give it a shot. If after the first episode you're like, I don't think this is for me, it probably isn't. And if after the first episode you're like, I'm kind of digging this, you will continue to dig it.
Yeah. It's a very consistent kind of feel, so you'll definitely get it with the first episode. Mm-hmm. Next one. It is Kakuriyo no Yadomeshi.
Yadomeshi.
Louise! I cannot speak today. Kakuriyo no Yadomeshi. And long story short, it's nothing groundbreaking or new. It kind of, if I could say anything, kind of like Inuyasha had babies with Konohana Kitan. It's very much about a girl who kind of gets taken to the yokai realm and finds out that her grandfather had a debt, which the collateral was her, and she is meant to marry the ogre who runs the inn. And she is definitely not for it, and she wants to run a restaurant in order to pay off the debt. That's basically the premise of the show. It's cute. I would definitely say it's like a C+. Nothing groundbreaking, not bad. Animation's pretty good. Characters are likable. Yokai are likable. Just kind of a pleasant...
and yet creepy sometimes.
Sometimes they're creepy, yeah.
It dives into that Natsume realm where it's like, ooh, that's a little unsettling.
I think Natsume is... Never mind, I was thinking something else. Yeah, Natsume realm of like, this is really pleasant to like, this is kind of creepy.
Yeah. It's... If Konohana Kitan was your bag, this one is kind of like that, just less girls to love. Less girls, less like fluffy, good feels. Like there is some good feels, but sometimes it's like, I got there quick. Like, sometimes like, it'll do that. It's swimming in sevens.
Yeah,
it's a 7.
Yeah, it's pleasant to watch. I'd say you can give it a go. Nothing's wrong with it. Just kind of a pleasant time.
You just want a feel good anime about yokai hotel.
Yokai hotel, yeah.
Hotel yokai. And
yeah, so the jokes are pretty funny as well. So not insanely funny, but it hits.
If you don't have time and you're like, man, what are like the top 5 anime to watch this season? This isn't one of them. If you got time and you love anime and you're like, I just want as much anime as I can get, this one should be on your radar.
Yeah. Next one is Layton Mysteries with Katri.
Oh, should I just sit back and let you vent?
Okay, this is my thing. I'll say it ranges between a C and an F for me, and this is why. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's very much a kid's anime, but I feel like it's missing Professor Layton, the whole linchpin of the series and of the games, and I find that Katri is very much the anime stereotype of I like sweets and I like shopping and I'm kind of a vapid bitch. And like one of the things I can say about the show, which is kind of like holy crap, and again, it's a kid's show. It goes from like 1 to 10 in like 1 second. You know, it'll be like, you know, I was doing this like charity event, which is really sweet. And you're like, oh, that's nice because my dad's dying. It's like, whoa. And it goes like instantly like, holy crap. And it's just like
the Layton games definitely delved into a little bit more. Yeah.
But it like built up where it's like, okay, there's something going on, blah, blah. And you had like a whole game which took like, you know, a couple days to get to instead of like half an hour of like wanting to hit that moment of sadness where it's just like, now's the time. Yeah. Where it's like, whoa, that was heavy.
I won this lottery and I used the lottery winnings to pay for my father's surgeries. Oh.
So if you haven't played the games or anything, that's why I say it ranges at around C for me. It's kind of like the Mystery of the Week, which are really kind of, it makes it not necessarily easy for kids, but definitely like teens, I would say, can link the things together and it makes sense. It gives the audience a chance to kind of guess at what's going on. Some things are so far-fetched. I'll say the ice episode, hugely far-fetched. But, you know, it's enjoyable. It's a kid's show. I think the most fun we get out of it is the facial expressions in the show. Especially like Catriel, where it just goes like over the top. And it's just meant to be like extra. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that's what I mean.
It's okay.
It is what it is.
The whole time, I'm just like, where's Herschel?
I miss Herschel so bad.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I really wish I had the gentleman, Professor Layton, as opposed to Catriel, lover of sweets.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want Professor Layton.
It is what it is. Is it anything great, groundbreaking? No. Is it somewhat pleasant? Except for when it gets really sad. Yeah, I'd say it's somewhat pleasant. So it's kind of a meh. Overall, it's not that great. It's great to put your kids in front of, I guess, as long as there's nothing that's too taboo for them, because like it talks about death and
lots of death.
I think yeah, death, zombies. I think there's one with murder. Doesn't show anything, obviously, just the topic.
Like drug trips.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Things, yeah, drug trips. So, again, it's a kid's show, very vanilla-ish, with a mixture of cayenne. It's very vanilla.
If you've never played the games, but you are aware of like the Layton movie, this is dialed way back down from the quality that the Layton movie had.
Yeah, the Eternal Diva is a really good movie. I think we have talked about it before in our favorite movies. So yeah, this is definitely not that, especially not that level of quality. It's just missing something. So it ranges at around a D for me. Mm-hmm. Next one. My Hero Academia. Oh, well, yeah, we'll do that. I went out of pace again. Damn. My Hero Academia. I love it. It can do no wrong. It's played pretty well with the manga. The only thing I was kind of surprised they kept in was the number levels, which I won't spoil the scene, but on the hilltop, Midoriya said something about number levels, and it was corrected in the manga, but what the creator meant by it, but they kept the original kind of intent of what it said. I'm trying to say that like dancing around without giving anything away, because I don't want to spoil anything for you because it's so bloody good. Long story short, yeah, this is the choice of words they decided to do in regards to power levels. But other than that, it's been great. The story's been great. Animation's been great. It's been consistent. Nothing I can complain about.
Yeah, these two arcs I think
are my favorite. I'm so excited.
And I mean, at this point, you're either with My Hero Academia or you're wrong.
Not. Yeah.
Because I just don't.
And I find it so funny because Jeff laughs at me because as soon as somebody like badmouths My Hero Academia, there's like a look that comes over my face because I'm just like, nothing's wrong with it. Shut up. And it's not like me being like, I can't even say it's like a super fandom or anything like that. It's just the fact that there really is nothing wrong with it. Like, they do a lot of world building, character building. Like, they have a lot of characters, and maybe that's its only downfall is the fact that it has a ton of characters. But you have to kind of spread things out. It can't just be the same, like, 3 to 5 characters like Naruto, where, like, these are the only important ones. There's a world of people, and they're so important. Like, the Vanguard right now is important, even down the road, and it's something I can't spoil for you, but these things really matter. These people we're meeting for the first time, and yet they have a pivotal role in what's to come, and it's really important that I get to say that enough. And it's things that, like, maybe don't make sense to you, but it's like, I can see the bigger picture, and trust me, it's wonderful. It's so good.
It belongs in that same echelon as Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, the Chimera Ant arc, and Hunter x Hunter.
Yes.
The highest of highs that Naruto hits, like it belongs in that same echelon. If you're not a shonen fan, like you're not gonna get why this is great. And I understand, like if you're not a shonen fan, this doesn't do anything that would make it like this transcends shonen. But no, it's shonen just done exceptionally well. It's also in this age where, I mean, you know, Marvel heroes and the MCU and whatnot is so prevalent. It does superheroes in a way that's still fairly unique, interesting, and it builds a world that is worth looking at and delves into some questions about what defines a hero, what makes a hero, what is the difference between, you know, using your abilities to have a living or using your abilities to save people, and what does that mean?
Yeah.
It's an excellent shonen. It's one of the best just cartoons in general that's been put out in the last 10 years.
Yeah. Has a really great soundtrack, and I know everyone said it, and I have to agree with them. The opener is not great. It has a decent song with decent animation, but together they just don't jive. And, you know, the song's grown on me more even, but still the opener just doesn't match.
The fact that we can skip the opener.
Yeah, we're like, let's go past it.
Let's just get to getting on.
But, yeah, these 2 season arcs will be great. Long story short, the other reason why it's really good, and it'll get into it, and it kind of touched on it a little bit, is the fact that every person with a quirk fits in somewhere in society, and the fact is that we realize how kind of, I don't want to use the word segregated, but how divisive things are economically and population-wise, where, like, some people just really got screwed over because of their quirk, and how some of them just found it easier to be a villain than the hero, or how it just economically it screwed them over. And it's such a good story, like things that you've thought of in shonen but never were questioned or put forth, and I think it's very valuable questions, and it's very good. Long story short, I don't want to spoil it. It's very good.
It's our number 1 this season for a reason.
Yeah, top 10 for me, for sure, ever. Okay, next one. Magical Girl Site. Jeff dropped it right away. I kept going. I think a lot of people have nailed it on the head, especially Gegege, where it's just super edgy. Is there anything of quality there? No. It wants to be like Madoka Magica if Madoka was even darker and was like even edgier with like rape scenes, gun scenes, violence, abuse, domestic abuse. I shouldn't say domestic. Yeah, I guess domestic.
Yeah, domestic abuse.
Domestic abuse. Like everything you can imagine. Like you already feel bad for a main character, and it's just like there's a million other reasons why you should feel bad, and it's like it's fine. Don't. Just don't.
It crosses the path from like, oh, we're trying to make a sympathetic character, where it was like, okay, one of these things happening makes them sympathetic. Having all of them happen, you're just like pulling on our heartstrings.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Lots of bad things happen to a lot of people. Even in my lifetime, I've had a ton of things. But like for storytelling purposes, you just need like 1 or 2 devices to be like, okay, this is how we should feel about them. And the writing in places it's sloppy. Like I just don't. I've been watching it. I give it just pass it. It's just overall garbage. But yeah, that's really, I've gotten nothing out of it other than life sucks, which gives you the ability to take vengeance because you're given that right. Like it's just, long story short, there's magical girls. The magical girls become magical girls because they have a shit lot in life, and that's why they're given these weapons, and then they fight other people and other things, and it's just terrible. So just skip it. If you want to watch something horrific, watch Elfen Light.
It seems to me, like I said, I hard dropped it after the first episode because I was just like, it's not worth my time. Seems like it's just going to be a lot of like it's revenge porn, essentially, but not like
in a good way.
Revenge porn.
Not like Bach and revenge. No. So then the next one, because we can easily skim over that, is I have Persona. And Persona's gotten a lot of flack from different YouTubers, and I kind of understand. At the same token, it's like Jeff has really been enjoying it, but my own personal thing is I look at it from obviously a fan point of view and somebody who is new to it in a sense. So like watching it, I'm like, it's okay. Like I'm glad they kept the soundtrack from the game, and they have kind of like all of our main story points are there, but it's so hard making the game into an anime because there's so much content, and they're like trying to fly through it, which I feel is a bad option because for people who've never played the game, it's really confusing. And for people who've played the game, I feel like they've, like Jeff, like I said, has been enjoying it, but I feel like have been even somewhat disappointed because we don't get to spend that time with the characters, which was the main highlight of the game, is to be like, I like this person because blank,
Blank is bae.
Instead of like, we are now friends. Yep. Like, yep, we are friends. It's like, that means we do stuff together. Like,
I mean, all of the Persona animes have had that same problem because
I've never watched the other anime, so I can't explain.
Because the games are just like this. They have just so much content. It's impossible to do everything. I feel like it does a good job of introducing like exactly what's happening. It does kind of make things happen pretty fast, but when it's only going to be like 24 episodes, that they're going to speed it up some.
Right.
What it is, though, is that it kind of hinges on the fact that you've played the game or at least have an idea of what the Persona games are like. So if you're coming into this fresh, it will be kind of like, wait, whoa, like lots of stuff is happening and they're not explaining as much of it. Why is it called Persona? What's a persona? Why are these weird things now turning into like weird creatures? What's happening? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it does kind of just assume that you know some things. And I mean, lots of other anime do that too. A shonen anime doesn't necessarily, like most shonen anime made now, like kind of assume that you know the tropes, and so they're just going to utilize the tropes.
But that's the difference between like tropes and like all that content, you know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between like being new to manga and then being new to like this. Like, this is like, whoa.
If you've played Persona 5, you probably can skip this. If you think you're going to play Persona 5, just wait until you play Persona 5.
Yeah.
I'm watching it and enjoying it mainly because I loved it so much, and this is like, instead of me putting another 150 hours into it, I can put like 12 hours and get the experience.
It'd be like somebody putting in a condensed version of Red Dead Redemption. I'd be like, yeah, I'll watch it. Like, this is like, I don't care, I'll watch it. Mm-hmm. So I guess if you've watched it already, I'd maybe give it a C. If you haven't watched it, I'd say a D-. Like, it's it's really good soundtrack. The animation is really good. I just find that it's hard for anyone to follow. That's my problem.
Okay.
And it's nothing wrong with the story itself, because it is a good premise of like what it's trying to accomplish. I just find, especially the persona parts, it's very confusing for people who've never touched the thing, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to really mark, but quality is good. It's just way too fast paced, and if you've never watched it, you're pretty guaranteed to be lost. Not guaranteed, but it's high.
It'll take some time. Like, you'll probably get to like episode 9 before you're like, oh, so this and this was happening that informed this. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you'll either look back and be like, that made sense, or else you'll do like us for a lot of anime where it's like, wait, and you'll go look it up online and you're like, okay, like that makes sense.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
But, so next one I have is Piano no Mori. And I as you saw, I put up a joke about it on a short clip about his fucking hands. Piano no Mori to me I like music. As you know, Jeff and I are both musical, or used to be. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to like it really badly, and of course it looked a lot like Your Lie in April. Like, a lot, in a lot of ways. And that was a pinpoint for me of being a bit perturbed. And then I thought, okay, I can invest in the story if I look past the CG. And then, like, the story's been so predictable, but, like, I like music. That's what's keeping me, like, there, you know? Mm-hmm. It's not because, like, oh, this is so groundbreaking, or this is so interesting, or whatever. It's just kind of like, you know.
I enjoy an anime about music.
Yeah.
And not like, I mean, maybe we'll get some flack for this, but it's like, we're not talking, like, idol stuff. We don't care about that. We don't care about, like, oh, you know, this is an anime about a J-pop group and them getting together. Like, not so much that. It's more about, like,
two boys who play the classical piano sort of thing.
Well, they've introduced a third character now.
Fine. 2 boys and a girl who play piano, who's, like, almost verbatim some of the characters from Your Lie in April. But anyways, that's something else. But, you know, I'd give it, like, a D. Like, sometimes the animation's pretty good. The key word is animation, not CG. The CG is horrendous.
Yeah, the CG is blah.
It's horrendous. It's so bad. But yeah, it's not. I'd say skip it unless something amazing happens by the end. Like, even though it's not that great.
You know what? I would say if you have a history with the piano, like, you might get something out of it. Like, if you've had to actually, like, get ready for piano recitals and been in concerts.
But you see all that in Your Lie in April. Like, if you want to see this, watch Your Lie in April. Don't watch this.
I mean, Your Lie in April touches a lot on a lot of that too, but maybe not.
Yeah, it touches on everything.
Well, Your Lie in April is just a better idea on what this is doing without, like, you know, the bitter sadness.
I'm waiting for him to be like, you know what, I take it back. Just watch Your Lie in April.
It does, you know, follow a similar template to Your Lie in April.
In a lot. Like, one of the characters, like, a couple of the characters look, like, identical, but whatever. Anywho, so Piano no Mori's...
The CG is... The music is like, and then the story is like, Your Lie in April? Are you hiding in there? Yeah, you are, aren't you?
So the next one I have is Shiyan Pin Jiating. Sorry if I said that wrong.
I've only watched the one episode.
So yeah, it's kind of one of those mysterious things because it's marked as anime, but for some reason I've heard it's gone through like a Chinese company, and yet it's all this stuff. Anyways, I'm watching it. Jeff only watched the one episode. I kept on. It's been disappointing. I thought it would. The first episode laid like a pretty neat foundation. And I thought, oh sweet, like we're gonna get some like really groundbreaking stuff here. I shouldn't even say groundbreaking, but really, like, interesting storyline, so to speak. And each episode after has just been kind of like, like...
So has it just been recycling the same ideas from the first episode?
The first episode, and it's like, I thought it would build off of it, were rather like... So, for example, let me start from the beginning. We have a bunch of kids that were tested on, -1, by their parents who were scientists. And, you know, it's just like, oh, well, they aren't used to the real world. So, like, the second episode, the one kid gets lost because he's never been out. Like, that's basically the whole episode is him getting lost. Mm. And then the third one is, you know, finding out that they're hated,
Yeah.
sort of thing. It's just like very basic, low level stuff, which is disappointing because I thought it would be very...
The first episode definitely was a lot higher concept
promising,
than that, because it was about, like, our main protagonist, he's regular. Yeah. And it's all about, like, his desire to try and have a regular family, and then, like, everybody else in this family, they've been like the mutations almost.
Yeah.
Like, one is like half a spider and the other is half plant, and all these sorts of things.
Yeah,
and
one's a dog, one's a spider, one's what's it called? Clairvoyance.
No, not clairvoyance.
Yeah, sure. Where you can hear other people's thoughts, like telepathic. Yeah. So it was an interesting concept, 15-minute long episode. So I thought, sure, this has been kind of meh. That's just personally me. So I'd say, it's an interesting idea. I'd do like a C-. Animation's been pretty good. Yeah, it's just been kind of meh for story.
That's kind of a little disappointing.
Yeah.
It seemed like it maybe had a concept that it could go off of, but it just...
it's a kid to explore it later, and they're kind of just trying to find their footing, but I found that it's not super substantial. Next one, Steins Gate Zero, which has been something we've waited for a while, and then we weren't sure we wanted, and we were like, okay, we're on board, and it's like super depressing, and it's like, oh, my heart.
It's... I don't know if depressing would be the word.
It's the darkest timeline.
Not the darkest. It is dark for sure. But I mean, when you're talking about time travel and whatnot, those are things that are going to be explored. They have to.
But great thing is, great animation still, same voice talent, like just amazing.
Yeah, we watched up to episode 4, and then that's when the dub started.
We wanted to make sure,
we were going to move over to the dub because we just love those performances so much.
Like, both are really good. We've listened to both now. They're both very good. I love John Michael Tatum. Oh, it's so good. And so everything's really good, and your heart breaks for Okabe again and again and again, and you're like, just stop. He's already dead. Stop hitting him. But, it's been really good. Definitely.
It's top 3 in this season, I would say.
Definitely. And I'd say to get the most out of it, you should watch the first season. Because a lot of this likely won't make a lot of sense. Like, it explains it well, but it's still getting more out of it.
I felt bad that we didn't rewatch it before this came out. Because then that stuff would be, like, more fresh in my head. But, I mean...
I remember all of it.
We both gave the original, I think, at least I gave the original Steins Gate a 10.
I think I did too.
It's one of the best anime ever made. So the fact that we're both, still on board with it and we're really happy with what Steins Gate Zero's done so far, I think just goes to show that it hasn't folded under the weight of expectation. Because expectation for this is...
Yeah. Huge.
I don't know if they're... I can't think of another recent anime that's had this much expectation. I can't.
I'd say recently, everyone hoping My Hero Academia is consistent, and then Galactic Heroes. I would say a lot of people were scared. But this wasn't so much scared as in, like, the first one was perfect. So what can you do to perfection? And it's like, people waiting, and they're like, well, what if I don't want it? What if, so I find it's very good. I find it's going to get much darker and sadder, which is obviously sad, but,
To quote Bender, louder and sadder.
Yeah, but I think, like I've said to people a million times already, talking to a lot of you, which has been beautiful speaking with you. Some of you have stated, like, you haven't watched Steins Gate, but you're about to, or some people have said that they have, and I'm like, if you can get past the first 3 episodes, that's the only one I give a gimme on, is Steins Gate, because the first 3 episodes are rather slow, and it doesn't make a lot of sense until you've watched it entirely and you can appreciate the first 3 episodes. That's the only time I can ever say get past the first 3.
It isn't an issue like the what was it, the Infinite 8 or whatever that was.
Haruhi Suzumiya. So people like it. I personally don't. The whole thing, not just, I haven't watched the movie yet, but I mean the series itself. It's just because
the same episode 6 times or 7 times
in
a row.
Endless 8.
Screw that. Endless 8. Yeah. This isn't an issue like that where like it tanks the season. No, it's just
something that seems slow paced and something that doesn't seem meaningful, but as time goes on and things loop together, so to speak,
It's like,
it makes sense.
Whoa.
And those moments are huge.
Then you rewatch like the first 3 episodes after you're done the season.
Yeah, and you're like, wow.
You're like, whoa. Whoa.
It's like, in a way, it's kind of like Baccano, where you get the ending at the beginning, where you get it and you're like, okay. You're like, well, it's spoiled for me. And you're like, no, it's not, because none of this makes sense until you know the whole story. And the story is fantastic. Not to get on Baccano again. It's amazing. My favorite. So we talked about Steins Gate, which is obvious, A+.
Yeah.
Next one is Tada Never Falls in Love. And, I'll get into the next part here, but I'll say there's one this season who overshadows it because it does a much better job of kind of the rom-com.
That might be partially due to our age, as
nothing is wrong with it, so to speak. It's kind of mid-road. I'd give it like B-, C+, maybe. It's just kind of
I dropped it after the first one because I was like, I 100% can tell everything that's going to happen here.
Yeah, it's like predictable. It's very, the characters, it has odd focus on certain characters at times, which is just kind of off-putting. Like, it's like a B-, C, where it's enjoyable. The animation's pretty good. It's just kind of a sit and watch sort of thing. It's nothing fantastic, groundbreaking, or anything like that. It's just, so that's all I think we need to say about it.
I can get what, like, I'd probably say like every few years there's that one like rom-com that comes out that just speaks to you.
Yeah.
Or I was thinking the other way around, where it's like there's one that just kind of speaks to you in comparison to all the other ones. So like for you, I'd probably say that your big one would be
Recovery of an MMO Junkie?
No, that's mine.
Oh.
That's mine. But I would say you're like the social club.
Oh, or on High School Host Club.
Everybody has their one that's like near and dear to their heart.
Love
you
it.
Love or
I love MMO too. So I watched it first. I was like, Jeff, you'll love this. He's like, okay. I don't know.
That's
and I was
one
like,
where
watch it.
One episode is like, and then the rest are like, oh.
I was like, you'll love it, and he loves it. I love Oran.
And so that's like mine. Like I judge everything compared to that.
And I'm waiting.
You judge a lot of rom-coms based on Host Club.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the day that Netflix calls me out for being the sad person who watches Oran all the time, because anytime I'm like remotely like sad or not feeling good or having a shitty day, I'll watch Oran. It always makes me laugh. And it's just a classic.
That's
and I love
more comedy than romance, I would say.
Yeah, but it kills me.
Yeah, whereas mine
I'm waiting
is
for it to call me out.
Mine is Recovery of an MMO Junkie, and for some people, Tada will be theirs, and that's perfectly fine. It's legitimate. It just
kind of
doesn't do anything that caught really my attention.
Yeah,
it's
just
one
kind of
like comic relief character that I was like, ha, that's about it.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's just like something you'd catch on a Sunday on TV. You're like, that was okay, like. Nothing where you'd like avidly go out of your way to be like, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. Which leads us to our next one. Love is Hard for Otaku. And it goes by many different names, but I just picked the English one. It is so funny and so good and so spot on, and it just hits all those boxes for us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
the rom-com of the season. It's the one that everyone talks about. It's the one that should be talked about. It has great animation. It has really interesting characters. The jokes land so well. It even has, like, everyone talks about, what is it called? What is it? Mahojo Guru? Stuff like video game references where it jokes about that as well. Where it's like, there's one scene that we always joke about with our friends where it's just like, it's getting like socially awkward because you can tell the conversation's leading to a place that's not good. So it's just like, it brings down like the Pokemon like slider menu where it's just like, choice to run. I am unable to run. Then somebody walks in front of the door. It's like, unable to run. Unable to flee. Unable to flee. Yeah, it's just so funny, and I think it just nails it. And it's
And from what I've been told is it is fairly reflective of kind of what. Like, we affectionately sometimes use the term otaku, like, in North America, like, we're trying to take it back sort of thing. Like, this is a good thing. In Japan, it's never been a good thing. And you don't call yourself an otaku. There's a social stigma to it. It means something different there. So, when they kind of address that like, you don't, in Japan, you don't want to be known as an otaku. And it's weird that one of our main characters is very much like, I don't care, like I am one, so I'll just be one.
Yeah.
And so that it became hard for there to be a relationship, because like, I'm not supposed to be with an otaku. You're not supposed to be with an otaku. You're not supposed to be happy that you're an otaku. And he's just like, but I mean,
that's who I am.
I am one. So what's the point in fighting it? What am I? I'm going to hide it. And then the one character will be like, I'm an otaku, but I hide it. So he's like, he'll never do anything publicly.
Yeah.
One character will play the Switch in public, and the other one, like, he'll look over his shoulder and he'll be like, you should play with me too. And he's like, what? No, not in public. Like, I don't do that.
Yeah.
And
he's just like, I don't declare myself as an otaku, because then people look down on me, sort of thing. And like,
so I love that it takes itself like kind of seriously in that regard, but at the same time, like, it's all the 4 main characters are really endearing, and you can tell that it feels like whoever made it like kind of based it off of their own life, because the characters all seem like really true to life, and really just
like legitimate. Like, it seems like even a lot of our friends, where it's just like, that's their relationship, that's who they are. Where it's like, when they have free time, they would rather, do
play
raids and WoW and, all that other stuff. Like, it's work and raids, and once in a blue moon we see them. Like, and it's kind of like that. And, so it's really funny, really cute, and, like, they have different types of...
the romance is really nice, too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, rom-coms will sometimes dip too far into one or the other.
Yeah.
This one is just really nice in the sense that you have 2 relationships that are going on that are very different from one another.
Yeah.
And, like, one, they're very, like, socially awkward. So a situation where, like, oh, they're ignoring me. Well, why? I don't know. They must be really mad at me. And then it's like, well, no, they just were, like...
He had his earbuds on, and it's like, what?
Or it's like, I'm trying to give you space because I don't know if you want me to show publicly anything, because you've said in the past that you're not...
It creeps you out.
Or, like... You don't want to be dating an otaku. People know I'm an otaku, so I don't know if you want people to know that you're dating me. And it's like...
And it's moments where like,
he's so sweet, and whatnot. And she very quickly will, That's the one thing where I was really worried for a little bit, where I was going to be like, is she going to turn out to kind of be a jerk? Yeah. And you don't want them to be together. But no, it's just, she's a little socially awkward and is just now getting into, like, it's okay for me to be with an otaku. It's okay for me to be an otaku in public with him. And that's perfectly fine,
And, they make that clear pretty quickly, where it's like, and I understand a lot of people have felt this way, where she's like, I've had normal relationships, and as soon as they find out that I like this stuff, or that I'm a otaku, I get dumped. And it's just like, I can understand that. So it's like, she doesn't want to do those things anymore. It's like, well, I can't hang out with otakus then, because then obviously I won't find a man. And it's very cute and funny and sweet and endearing. Like, we have very sweet moments. Mm-hmm. I don't want to spoil anything. It's based on a manga.
That's my rom-com for the season. Yay.
Yeah, the manga is apparently really good as well. I took a quick skim. It was really good. That's kind of our season where we kind of delved in. We took a quick look at Megalobox. It seemed pretty good. The action, the animation, the music seemed pretty good. Anything else? We haven't really given a lot of quality time as we have these. And as you can tell, this is a lot. Well over a dozen. So we've been busy, and then life has been happening. So let us know if there's anything that you really like that we've missed, or, the horse anime I'm very well aware of, so don't worry about that. You don't have to bring that to my attention.
Also, let us know if you have an anime-based ringer as well for your phone.
Yeah, if you also have anime as your ringtone. Again, sorry for that. That was Miss Kobayashi as my ringtone. Before that, it was Death Parade, so... I
think you were looking at maybe something My Hero Academia.
I did have My Hero Academia, but I'm like so easily startled, so that every time it started, it was just like somebody yelling at you. I was like, ah! So that's why I changed it.
I had something for Made in Abyss for a little bit, but I'm happy now with the main song from Mario Odyssey, because it's like, I can get woken up at... In insider news, if you're a substitute teacher, you get woken up at 6:30 in the morning. So I don't mind getting woken up at 6:30 in the morning with "Jump up in the air, come on, don't be scared." Like, cool, okay, that I'm all right with. Some other songs, it was like dread and sadness. Ugh.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This Kobayashi's song usually gets me jazzed. So I'm like, okay, let's get going. So. Yeah, I usually pick anime stuff. Jeff usually goes between anime and gaming stuff, because as we mentioned very early on, Jeff's more of a gamer or more of anime, and he's gotten more into anime because of me, because I've always had it going on. and I never shut up about it.
That's fine.
And,
I love anime too.
So yeah, that's kind of our season right now. Of course, we'll have a wrap-up of how things were, and I'm assuming based on what we've said already, we kind of know how things will end, or if it'll be good or bad. And then shortly we'll be getting into another season in a short while, and that'll be...
How busy we've been is we haven't even looked into what's starting up next season.
I know for sure Attack on Titan, because a lot of people have brought that to my attention, and they're like, have fun! And I'm like...
I thought One Punch Man was starting up
I think
again.
it got pushed back. I think it's not until fall, like our fall.
Oh yeah.
I'll double
like
check.
October
I'll put that in the
or
comments
something.
exactly the date, but I think it's later in the season. Later in the year. But yeah, I'm pretty confident Attack on Titan will be there, and I know I'll do everything wrong with, and then everyone will hate me, and I'll explain myself, and like, you have valid points, and then I'll go back to that. And the cycle starts anew.
I mean, from what it sounds like, season 2 didn't capture the attention as much as the first one, so obviously more people are kind of coming around to your line of thinking.
So I will be watching it, I will be criticizing it, and, maybe it'll be better.
Everybody's got that anime they hate watch.
Yeah, this is a hate watch, not like where I hate to watch it like Cardcaptors. This is more of a, okay, it's entertaining at the very least, and the music's pretty, like, hype, so there's that, but, yeah, can't wait! So thanks for joining us, thank you for joining me, Jeff.
Of course, always.
And until next time, we'll see you later.